Chicano ideas, culture is power, history is knowledge. Let's talk about Hector P. Garcia, an honorable Chicano, a Chicano that should be recognized within the Chicano history. So, born in 1914 in Mexico, January, and passed away July of 96. So, let's talk about some of his honorable mentions. Hector P. Garcia, when I look up the information about him, he is an honorable man. It's just a lot of honorable recognitions. So, he was an alternative representative to the United Nations in 1967. In 1968, was appointed to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. Hector was in 1948 was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In 1990, he was honored by the Pope. During that same year, he was given by Mexico the Aztec Eagle, highest award that's given by that country. And let's get on to his life, where both of his parents were teachers and they were not recognized as teachers when they came into the United States in 1917 when they fled Mexico during the Revolutionary War. His parents expected all 5 of his siblings to become medical doctors, in which they all did. He graduated high school in 1932 and he from the University of Austin, getting his degree in zoology. So he graduated high school in 1932, and within 8 years later, in 1940, Hector, earning his doctorate in medicine from the University of Texas of Medicine, completing his internship in 1942, he was called onto active duty by the U.S. Army to proceed in World War II. He was an engineer. He was also a military doctor while he's being stationed in Europe is where he was mostly at, and he found his wife living in Europe. So he earned the rank of major, and he also, like we said, was awarded the Bronze Star by the Americans and the European African Middle Eastern Medal Bronze with 6 stars, and was awarded the World War II Victory Medal, and opened a private medical practice with his brother after returning from World War II with his wife from Europe. So in 1948, he started the AGIF, which he mostly was fighting for the rights of Chicanos, Mexican American veterans. After a veteran of Vietnam was rejected, he was fighting for rights of guys from World War II and Vietnam. He was fighting for better rights of education. All these Chicano leaders of this time were fighting for better education and better wages, better jobs. And like every other Chicano, Hector helped promote voting rights for each president of who was a so-called Democrat, for a liberal, or whatever you want to call him. And Hector, just like every other Chicano within his city, helped JFK earn the Hispanic vote. So, while fighting for Chicano rights of veterans and school education, this is pretty much everything about him. He grew up being pretty legit. All these awards, being a military man, fighting for the rights of Americans that are of Mexican descent, I guess to say. Chicanos. So he's a Chicano leader that should be recognized and honored. Passing away in 96, Bill Clinton did present his eulogy, spoke at his funeral. So he is a very honorable man, Hector P. Garcia. It's pretty much not, there was a lot to read, but not a lot to read. It was a lot of honorable mentions. You could see he did a lot, and he did the typical of just like any other Chicano, fighting for school rights, fighting for job wages, getting Chicanos to vote for these presidents like JFK and whoever of was those in time. Maybe uh, he was not of a Corky or a Caesar, but he's someone who helped promote rights amongst Chicanos who are serving in the military, and that's something that is needed, especially us giving our life for this country of false freedom, limited freedoms of rolling the dice, and you think, hey, you're living nice. Nah. But listen, Hector P. Garcia, salute to you, and learn about him, read about him. Not too much information other than what I read. So, culture is power, history is knowledge, and Chicano ideas is how you got to keep it.